Suddenly, there's a heavy pounding on his door. Someone is shouting for him to come out and save them. Meanwhile, another voice yells that if he doesn't come out, then he'll break the door down. Outside the door, someone lurks menacingly with razor-sharp teeth and claws. Whoever is out there doesn't look quite human anymore. Suchin is more annoyed that he has to deal with these jokers again than terrified for his life. But Duan Ya warns him not to go outside. These people have already eaten Lina, and if they open the door, then they might also get eaten. The fact that they ate someone catches Suchen's attention. And from his expression, it means that this is very bad news. He leaves the suite and steps out to meet the people waiting for him at his door. He tells them not to be so quick to break down the door since it'll be troublesome if it's damaged. The men in front of the door look deranged, with veins bulging all over their skin as well as red, crazed eyes. In the middle of them, Xiao Qian begs for Suchen to save her while one of the men grips her head. As soon as he comes out, they turn to him with their sharp teeth and chuckle maniacally. It looks like this is going to come down to a fight no matter how he handles it. However, Suchen doesn't seem bothered at all. He steps out into the hallway, and immediately, another one of the men who is hiding behind the wall tries to ambush him with a knife. The power boost our protagonist got earlier from the Drought Demon Crystal gives him sharp enough reflexes to stop the attack and immediately break the man's arm, stabbing his own knife back into his neck. That shocks the men, and they back off now that they've seen his power. But Xiao Qian takes the opportunity to break off from them, running towards Suchen while still begging for him to save her. The damsel in distress act doesn't fool him at all, and he stops her by the neck, revealing her own set of sharp teeth and red eyes. Once someone eats human flesh, their body will mutate, and then fangs will grow in their mouth. Right now, Xiao Qian and the other men are no longer humans. He grips the woman by her face, causing her to cough and lose her breath. The men aren't concerned by it, however. It's the end of the world after all. And what does it matter if they eat people as long as they can survive? Even if they turn into bloodthirsty monsters by the end of it, at least they will be alive. Xiao Qian says that the meat was delicious, and after eating it, her body felt full of energy. Now all she needs is to take out Suchen and take over his room. She twists her body and tries to swipe at him with her claws, but a hard kick from our protagonist sends her flying through the hall and crashing out of a window. She almost falls down onto the streets below, but she barely manages to catch herself at the last moment. She definitely won't be letting Suchen off so easily. However, outside the hotel is still scorchingly hot, and she screams in pain while the sun burns her body up. Meanwhile, inside, the men decide to rush at him together before he has a chance to draw his gun. Suchen calmly wonders if he even needs to waste bullets on these guys, and one of them warns him not to underestimate them too much. He jumps into the air and prepares to come down on Suchen and take him out. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't mind wasting, and he raises a gun, putting a bullet through the first attacker's head. The rest spread out, hoping to avoid the gun entirely, and hit him while his guard was down. Thanks to their new forms, not only are they stronger now, but even their reaction speed has greatly improved. Meanwhile, Suchen continues to fire bullets into them as they try to rush at him, but they easily dodge everything. In this situation, simple bullets won't be enough to bring them down. One of them latches onto the ceiling before bringing himself down towards Suchen. But that kind of weak attack isn't enough to surprise our boy. He grabs the man by the head and slams him into the ground, killing him instantly. Then he catches the hand of another man and takes the knife from his hand before using it to slice the necks of 2 other attackers, taking them all down. The only person left is the enhanced Gao Chang, who rushes at him with his fist drawn back for a final attack. However, just like all the others, Suchen calmly grabs him before he can attack and pins him to the wall by his neck. As he holds Gao Chang against the wall, a figure leaps through the window and lands at the end of the hallway. It's Xiao Qian, and it seems like the sun has mutated her, giving her sharp spikes on her back and a long tail while also making her look even more deranged. It seems like she mutated quickly into the monstrous state because of her strong attachment towards him. He snaps Gao Chang's neck, killing him instantly, then turns to face Xiao Qian for a final battle. Since she doesn't want to disappear, he's just going to have to keep killing her until she finally leaves. Xiao Qian roars in anger as the two stare each other down. Meanwhile, Nurse Duanya watches from inside the safety of the room. She's amazed by the fact that Suchen managed to single-handedly take down Gao Chang's entire gang. The new monster girl that just appeared, though, gives off a very different and dangerous vibe. She tries to think of a way to help him so she can stay by his side. She doesn't want to be a burden to him, even if his way of taking care of her is a tad bit questionable. As she's wondering what she's going to do, she notices something in the room that might be able to let her stand next to him. The nurse heads back into the room and comes out with a whip, ready to fight against the monster. She tells Suchen to let her help, but he's not very impressed. Not being scared and refusing to hide is a good trait, but with the way she's dressed, she's only going to end up distracting him. The monster roars again to remind the couple that they have bigger fish to fry before she charges at them with tremendous speed. Suchen barely manages to dodge a swipe at his head, leaving his shirt to take most of the damage. Then he activates one of his abilities, Superpower, Berserker Mode, which boosts his strength and durability to huge levels. The monster rushes behind Suchen and tries to bite into his neck, but even with her razor-sharp teeth, it doesn't leave a dent. Now that she's taken her swing, it's his turn, and he starts by grabbing both of her arms, then backflipping behind her, landing on her back while holding her arms above her head. He then asks her if she's ready, but she doesn't have a moment to respond before Suchen rips both of her arms off, slamming her hard into the ground in the process. She screams out in pain as Suchen lands behind her, ready to take her out once and for all. He had planned to let her suffer a bit more in the apocalypse while slowly torturing her to death. But now he has to kill her earlier, or that's what he thinks at least. She wraps her tail around the dead body of one of the attacking men and lifts him up in the air. Then she splits her mouth open, down to her torso, and swallows him whole, giving her even more power. As soon as she takes him in completely, her hands regenerate, and her strength returns tenfold. It seems that she can regenerate severed limbs. That's great for Suchen, since if she can regenerate, that means that she's not so easy to kill after all. It also means that he can tear her apart many times over and have as much fun torturing her as he wants. He rushes towards her and goes behind her again, grabbing her left arm. Then he rips it off, pushing her down to the ground again. Before she can get up, he rips off her right arm as well, followed by her tail and both legs. Almost immediately, her limbs regenerate just like he had planned, leaving her in perfect condition again. That was only the first round though. The second round starts immediately after as Suchen continues to rip her to pieces over and over again, allowing her body to regenerate, before ripping her apart again. He doesn't just go for the limbs either. He moves on to the tongue, then her internal organs and everything else. Apart from the head, it seems like everything else can regenerate, meaning that he can keep toying with her as much as he wants. By the 21st round, her body stops regenerating, and she lays defeated and broken on the ground. He was planning to gouge out her eyes, but he decided not to go that far. After all, he's now a devil. She shakily asks him why he's going too far to torture her, and what his reason is for making her suffer before her death. He tells her that it's simply for revenge before bringing his foot down hard on her head, killing her instantly, now that the threat has been taken care of. Duan Yan nervously asks him if he's alright. But instead of answering her, he asks her if she's ready. He's been so heroic that she should be ready to reward him. Elsewhere, at the rescue point, it seems like the outside temperatures are normalizing. It's not much hope, but maybe the apocalypse is ending already. At least that's what the soldiers stationed at the engineering university station think. Xiao Feng, the soldier that once had a fight with Suchen at the hotel, is one of the people stationed at the university, and he notices something in the distance. He nervously calls out to the captain of the squad, a white-haired woman, and he tells her that there are a lot of people approaching the rescue point suddenly. She turns to see what he's talking about, but instead of people, she sees a massive horde of zombies marching towards them. They start running towards the two, and the captain wastes no time in giving out orders. She tells Xiaofeng to evacuate the civilians from the rescue point while she tries to hold them off. Xiaofeng tries to argue, but she forces him to go inside. Since he has no choice when given an order, he reluctantly rushes in while telling her not to die. Meanwhile, Suchen plans to show Duan Ya the power of a berserker for probably the third time. At this point, she has rewarded him more times than she can count, and she covers herself, wondering how he wants to go at it again. Suchen tells her that now that the extreme heat wave is over, he has to go out for a bit. Before he does that though, he has to show her some unforgettable memories. She asks why she can't just come with him, but people around him must follow a couple of strict conditions. They must be valuable, and they must absolutely obey his orders. After their session, it seems that Duan Ya has completely submitted to him. Next, he has to hurry into town before the seawater surges in. In his previous life, many of the zombies were driven by the obsession to reach the rescue point, and eventually, they formed a tidal wave horde and attacked their former escape route. Many civilians and soldiers died in the tidal wave attack, and the incident also led to a large amount of military weapons being scattered. Thanks to that, a lot of idiots on the streets now have access to guns, and ordinary people went around shooting each other to survive and for fun. This is how various factions formed over time, and multiple people rose to power among the chaos. Some, however, were just too stupid to use their newfound power in productive ways, like the group of people that thought they'd be able to stop his car by standing in front of it with a gun. They yell for him to stop the vehicle, but he simply barrels through them at full speed, running them over as he continues to his destination. As he drives through the city, he notices that, just like in his previous life, the walls crack from the scorching sun, and the combined onslaught of the zombie wave eventually led to the collapse of the subway station. Thanks to that, a large number of people died underground, and the number probably reached the thousands. He stopped the car for a moment to look into a hole in the ground, and a large number of zombie eyes stared back at him. The zombies underground are attracted by the roar of the car, and even though there could be a large number of crystals down there for him, not all zombies have crystals in their heads, and it would be way too time-consuming to crack each skull open one by one. Instead of doing that, he decides to head over to the engineering college and check out the situation for himself. It's the first time he has been back at the engineering university since he graduated. Now it's filled with more delinquents and zombies than he remembers. As he walks through the front door, he's greeted by a group of people who seem to be holding zombies as pets by chaining them to the walls. They tell him that he's entering their territory, and so he better hand over his backpack if he wants to get by without being attacked. Su-chen pretends to be defenseless for a moment, and pulls out a braised chicken leg from his backpack that he plans to give them in exchange for being allowed to pass. The group of people who likely haven't seen good food in several days immediately go feral at the thought of eating chicken legs. Su-chen smiles and tosses the food for them on the ground, and they all jump over each other to grab it. But as they fight for it, our protagonist pulls the meat back using a piece of string and tells them that they aren't worthy of eating the chicken legs. This makes them angry, and they pull out their weapons to get back at him for messing with them. That forces Su-chen to stop messing around, and he pulls out a gun to end them quickly. He doesn't remember so many idiots from his previous life. It could be that his warnings caused a lot more people to survive than before, and that ended up leading to the current situation. He heads up the stairs and reaches the Department of Reptiles and Snakes, and the large lock on the door tells him that nobody has entered the lab in a long while. Entering into the room, he can tell that many snakes have died since the air is filled with the smell of decay. He looks through the room for a little bit until he eventually finds what he's been looking for: the Golden King snake, which will mutate into the water rattlesnake army leader. It seems like it has survived for so long by eating all the other snakes. In his previous life, this snake was one of the earliest to undergo mutation, and it ate quite a few people. In fact, it almost swallowed him as well. In about a week, when the flood comes, it will begin to mutate, and it might become so strong that it will become difficult for even him to defeat. Even now, it feels like the snake has already started forming a hint of intelligence. He will need to be cautious around it from now on. As he's looking at the snake, he senses something from outside the room. It seems like some people are here to greet him. The thugs outside the door yell for him to come out. It's useless to hide since they already know that he's hiding in there. Su-chen doesn't hide, of course, and comes out with a hand in his pocket and without a care in the world. It's a critical time for him after all. He can't afford to be disturbed by these guys, so it'd be better for him to take care of them quickly. Before he can make the first move though, a woman swoops in from the shadows and surprises the thugs. She clamps her thighs around the first thug, while catching another under her arm and snapping his neck. In an instant, 2 of them are dead, and she immediately jumps on the third one and grips him by his face. Then she snaps his neck immediately as well before he has a chance to react. With everyone else dead, Su-chen decides to join in on the party and points a gun at the back of her head, complimenting her moves as he threatens her life. She doesn't wait for him to shoot and instead goes on a counterattack, hitting his hand with her elbow to shift the gun away. Then she jumps on her hands and leaps onto his neck trying to twist it, but she finds out way too late that his neck is a bit too hard for her to crack like the others. Instead, she's left sitting on his shoulders with her crotch embarrassingly pressing against his face. He takes a moment to breathe in before asking her what exactly she thinks she's doing. After a little bit of struggle, he has her tied up in a questionable position with red ropes, and the gun is once again pointed to her head. With no other option, she finally introduces herself as Bai Kang, the captain of the Azure Tiger Special Operations Team. Despite her current predicament, she advises him to behave himself and let her go. Su-chen ignores her words and asks if she knows someone named Xiao Feng from the Special Forces team. She's surprised that he knows Xiao Feng, and he tells her that he once saved the soldier's life. Not a complete lie, but not the truth either. With that information out in the open, she decides to tell Su-chen everything that she knows so far. A group of fugitives took over the school and used students as hostages while they stole weapons. When the zombie horde attacked the rescue point, Xiao Feng led the civilians to leave first, but he didn't expect that some of the prisoners had escaped and infiltrated among the normal civilians. Considering the circumstances, Su-chen doesn't think it's her fault that the prisoners escaped. Bai Kang agrees and says that as long as they have the proper weapons, then the people have nothing to fear. As she talks, Su-chen spawns a grill and uses it to prepare some meat that he eats right in front of her. That makes her uncomfortable enough to ask how long Su-chen plans to keep her tied up like this. He agrees to let her go, as long as she promises not to clamp his head down with her legs like she did before. She agrees to that, but only if he lets her have some steak too. After he unties her ropes and she gets her hands on her guns again, she tells him that she has her own things to deal with, meaning that she can't help him too much. For now, all she can do is provide some power support. That won't be necessary, and he tells her to hurry up and leave before she ends up bothering him. She reminds him that she actually plans to sneak attack their stronghold and retrieve the looted goods so the people trapped in the college can survive. Because of that, this might be the only time they meet. She turns to leave, but the promise of more supplies causes him to call her back. He lies that Xiao Feng is his brother, and because of that, he plans to help her out. But his true motivation is clearly the supplies that she's after. The supplies are located in a room in the administrative block, and inside there, a group of thugs with guns hold multiple students hostage while guarding the looted supplies. The boss of the gang asks his subordinate how things are going, and the low-level thug replies that most of the guys are waiting outside, and they are ready to storm the students in the dorm. The boss smiles as all his plans start coming together, and he says that those who weren't cooperative in the beginning should be at the front, while the less cooperative guard the back. As they're talking, someone breaks down the door to their hideout and interrupts the meeting. It's Su Chen, and he calmly apologizes for disrupting their gathering. The thugs freak out and ask who he is and how he managed to break in when there are more than 20 people guarding the room from outside. He tells them he got in really easily, and shows them a demonstration by lifting his finger and pointing it at the man that asked him the question. Then he goes bang, and the man's head explodes in an instant as he falls to the ground dead. As the other thugs scream in horror, Su Chen tells them that if they move, then they will die. Meanwhile, Bei Chang looks through a sniper scope from the roof of the building opposite the administrative block. She's the one that has been taking out the thugs as well as providing sniper support to Su Chen the entire time. Even with that, however, there are still many thugs in the room, which makes this a very dangerous situation. Su Chen's plan to lure the enemy in alone is way too risky, in her opinion. But the man insisted that he get it done solo. He was the one that gave her the sniper rifle and told her to take an outpost on the roof of the opposite building. The plan is to shoot wherever he points and use that to scare the thugs. It's a really absurd plan, and she has no idea why she agreed to it in the first place. But there's no turning back now. Suddenly the curtains close and she calls Su Chen in a panic, asking how it's going on his end. Instead of his voice in response, she hears the other thugs laughing now that they have figured out that he set up a sniper outside. It seems like she has been spotted just like she knew she would be, and things have turned dire for our protagonist. With no other choice left, she rushes off the building and makes a mad dash toward the administrative block to save her temporary companion. Hopefully, Su Chen can find a way to stall for time while she rushes to rescue him. As she runs through the campus, she hears someone on the other end order for Su Chen to be killed. There isn't much time, and Su Chen must already be dead. When she finally reaches the room, ready to avenge her fallen companion, she's shocked to see that everyone in the room has already been taken out, and Su Chen stands in the center, holding the boss thug by his neck. It seems like she's already too late, and on top of that, there are no more supplies left here. The boss begs for his life as Su Chen holds him up by his neck, while also sneakily moving the supplies into his magical space. He claims that Su Chen would not dare to kill him, since the people behind him would never let him get away with it. Our protag is not fazed by the empty threat and snaps the man's neck, promising that the people behind him will join him in death soon enough. Bai Chang is surprised that Su Chen managed to defeat everyone in the room so easily without our help. He tries to play it off by saying that he has been doing exercises regularly, and that's the reason why he has the strength to pull off these amazing feats. Besides, there are no more supplies in the room, and they were probably already starving and weak by the time he got there. Bai Chang is not convinced and wonders if anyone else could have raided them and taken all the supplies. And now that the supplies are gone, then what will happen to the students? Su Chen will share some of the supplies he raided with them if he needs to. But it all depends on how they behave. While she's still asking questions, Su Chen walks past her and heads to the girls' dormitory. Since he asked the thugs earlier, and they told him that Xiao Feng and the other students had all gathered there. Now that they have left the room, one of the bodies hanging out at the back starts to move. She twitches, then her eyes open, revealing that she's actually alive and was listening to the whole thing. Meanwhile, one of the thugs walks through the campus looking for someone who has run off to cause trouble. He finds her in the room that Su Chen and Bai Kang had just left, and it's the girl that listened to the entire conversation. They hurry up and get her down, and she falls to her feet as soon as they set her free. He asks her if she found what she's been looking for by pretending to be a prisoner for several days. She then tells him that since she had a close call with death, she needs the comfort of the man whose name is Steel Fang. He agrees to comfort her and pulls out a thorned whip that he uses on her back. She screams out in pleasure as soon as the whip hits her back, and the thug asks her how she's feeling. It seems like the painful comfort managed to make her feel much better, and she tells them exactly what she saw while she was hanging up as a prisoner. Steel Fang asks her who took all the supplies, and she tells him that it was a devil, and his name is Su Chen. Meanwhile, Su Chen and Bei Chang make their way back to Xiao Feng. The soldier is bandaged and looks hurt, but he tells them that he's fine. He's more interested in the other man that walked in with her. Su Chen asks to see his wound, and although it started out as just a scratch, It's been getting much worse recently for some reason. Su Chen tells him that the wound was caused by the cannibals, which are creatures that eat people. Their nails are full of bacteria and viruses, and without medicine to treat the wound, it could become life-threatening. Now, medicines are rare resources, and they are impossible to find. But at the same time, it would be unacceptable to die like this. After hearing this, Su Chen decides to share some of his medicine with him. They are both surprised by the amount of medicine Su Chen provided them, but he tells them that he did it because Xiao Feng is his brother. In his previous life, there was a man in the military whose combat power was comparable to a humanoid nuclear bomb known as the God of War. If that person turns out to be Xiao Feng, then investing in his friendship and survival will definitely benefit him. Xiao Feng tells our protagonist that he owes a favor, but he also knows that Su Chen didn't come to their hideout just to deliver medicine. He asks Su Chen to tell them what he actually wants, and he tells them that a great flood is coming soon, and they will need to evacuate quickly. The extreme heat is already causing the glaciers to melt rapidly, and because of that, seawater is flooding the mainland rapidly. If they don't leave as soon as they can, they, as well as the entire land, will be submerged in floodwater. The people listen to him in shock, but one of the other survivors doesn't believe him. She accuses him of only trying to drive them away so he can monopolize the school's resources. He remembers exactly who this loud girl is. Her name is Fang Qing, and she's his classmate, a famous female boxer at his university, and a second-generation rich girl who likes to create gender divides. She walks up to him and asks if he has any food in his bag. Before he can answer, she reaches for the bag and tries to take it from him. But Su Chen stops that with a quick dose of gender equality and a slap to the face that's heavy enough to immediately leave her cheek swollen and take out a tooth. While she nurses the wound, the rest of the people in the hideout start to cheer the attack. She has been a nuisance around them for a while, and she has also been hogging a whole dorm by herself just because she has some money at home. Because of that, everyone has been fed up with her for a while, and they immediately cheer for her to be kicked out of the dorms immediately. It looks like she's already quite infamous there, and the cheers for her to be thrown out cause her to lose her mind in rage. She threatens to go and find her father and get them all killed, then she storms out of the area. Bei Kong comes in to check if our protagonist is alright, but he warns her that the girl is heading off to find her father and someone should probably stop her. Though that running to daddy doesn't help much in the apocalypse, she walks out into the school grounds, ranting about how men in the country are all beneath her, especially Su Chen. None of them can hold a candle to any of the gentlemen abroad. The name Su Chen attracts unwanted attention from one of the men that she says is beneath her. It's the thug from earlier, and he grabs her from behind, then asks her where exactly Su Chen is. The man of the hour walks out of the dorms and towards the exit. Captain Bai can handle the evacuation while he goes on to find what really brought him to the campus in the first place. The most important thing is to wait for the Golden King snake to mutate so he can harvest the crystal from it. Maybe he'll even get its ability to manipulate water. As he walks through the courtyard, a girl's voice calls out to him, begging him to save her. He turns and sees Fang Qing tied up and hanging off the ground. Behind her, there's a man laughing while standing on the truck that's holding her off the ground. Su Chen jokingly asks her if she managed to find her dad, while she still begs for his help. The man on the truck introduces himself as someone from the Federal Bureau of Evolution, and he's here to get back at Su Chen for snatching up his supplies. For their meeting today, he has prepared a truckload of surprises. He opens up the back of the truck, and it's filled with a small army of drought demons who all swarm out and surround him. Inside, the soldiers and the civilians hear the cry of all drought demons that have just been released. They know that the sound is coming from the direction Su Chen left in, and that means their new companion could be in danger. Bei Chang tells Xiao Feng to stay put and guard the civilians while she goes and checks up on the situation, but he refuses. This time, he won't let her go off on her own again. Meanwhile, back with Su Chen, the thug asks if the loud girl with the still swollen face is his classmate. If that's the case, then this is his opportunity to be a hero and save the beauty. All he has to do is kneel down and beg and the girl will be let go. Su Chen takes a moment to think about the offer, and the snobby girl yells at him to hurry up and kneel down to save her. It's not impossible, but there's just one problem. Fang Qing doesn't even wait for him to say what the problem is, and starts desperately asking why he won't be able to save her. He just said he will save her after all, and it won't be impossible. How could he go back on his word when he's a man? Su Chen tells her that he is definitely a man, but he's not worthy of saving her. Instead of him saving her, he can help her contact those foreign gentlemen she keeps boasting about to see if they're willing to save her. That explains why he's so reluctant to help her. It's because she called him inferior, so he's taking revenge on her by doing this. Well, if he thinks that she'll apologize and beg him to save her, then he is completely wrong. According to her, she doesn't even need him to save her. Su Chen laughs and points out the huge horde of zombies rushing towards her from behind the truck. Hopefully she won't regret her own words in a moment. Fang Qing nervously glances at the zombies that she forgot about in her anger. In her last moments, as the zombies gripped her legs, she screamed for help and begged for Su-chen to save her. It seems like she was wrong after all. As the zombies tear her apart, she screams at the top of her lungs for him to save her. But it's already too late. After the screams die down, the Bureau of Evolution officer laughs at how insane the situation was. It seems like Su-chen truly is a terrible person, who can't even help another in a dire situation. But that's alright since he'll be joining her soon. Then he tells our protagonist that he will now show off the technology of the Federal Bureau of Evolution. He pulls out a jar of powder and rubs it on his face. All he has to do is apply this powder to himself, and monsters will obediently listen to anything he says. That's because the powder is actually the ashes of dead drought demons. Once anyone applies it to themselves, that makes the zombies think that that person is one of them. That causes the man to pause and take a look at the bowl in his hands in fear. It seems like he didn't even know that he had been rubbing his face in monster ashes. The man rushes to spit out any powder that might have gotten in his mouth, and he's disgusted by the thought that he had been rubbing monster powder on his body the entire time. Now he's mad, and he orders the monsters to tear him to shreds. They growl and rush at him with their claws out and their teeth bared. Su-chen wastes no time and summons a pair of katana from his personal storage, then rushes through the crowd of zombies, slicing them all into bits in less than a second. He finishes them off so fast that he's standing right in front of the truck before the man is even done coughing. The bureau official turns around and sees his opponent casually staring up at him, looking completely unbothered. There were still several zombies swarming him from behind, and his two soldier allies arrived just in time to see him about to be surrounded. The bureau official orders the zombies to attack again, but none of the zombies move. Su-chen pats the dust off his shirt and tells the man not to bother shouting. It's pointless since no matter how much he screams his lungs off, the zombies won't do anything. The man from the bureau asks what he means by that, and his questions are answered as all the zombies spontaneously fall to pieces behind him all at once. The man has no idea how that was even possible. Su-chen doesn't answer him and instead uses his power to teleport behind the man and grabs him by the neck. He never wanted anything to do with the Federal Bureau of Evolution, so he asks who exactly ordered the man to come and kill him. If he doesn't give up his master, then Su-chen has no reason to spare his worthless life. Our protagonist pulls on the man's metal mask while smirking down at him. The man starts to scream as the pressure becomes too much for him to take. And in an instant, Su-chen rips his head right off of his shoulders, with the bottom still connected to his spinal cord. Baekhyang is shocked that he resolved the seemingly impossible situation in an instant. It's similar to before, and this sort of power is not something that can be achieved through training alone. This guy must be some kind of monster. Su-chen is more frustrated by the fact that he had to use so much force against these small fries. From now on, he's going to have to show more restraint against people before things get troublesome for him. If only he had a capable assistant that he could work with, then everything would be easier. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Duanya is startled awake by a sudden dream. Once again, she had a dream about Su-chen, and she can't seem to get him out of her mind. Why hasn't he returned to her yet? A loud voice comes from outside the room, and she jumps in fear for a moment. Then she remembers Su-chen's words about who he needs close to him. Whoever he keeps by his side must be useful to him, and if they are useless, then he will not take care of them. The remainder of Su-chen's words motivates Duanya to pick up a gun from the cupboard and face her fears head-on. She's determined to become his right-hand man no matter what, and to do that, she needs to be able to take care of herself. The former cook pushes her way into one of the study rooms in the suite, armed with 2 pistols and a mean poker face. Even with all that though, there's no one in the room, despite the fact that she's sure that the voices came from there. Another growl sounds behind her, and she turns around just in time to see that one of the drought demons had snuck up behind her. The zombie walks menacingly towards her and pushes her back against a table in the room. She has no idea where it came from or how it even got behind her. But there was nowhere for her to go now that she's been backed up to the table. Her only hope now is the gun that she swiped from the room before she stepped out to fight. Before she can use it, the drought demon slaps it out of her hand and sends it flying behind the table. Then it shrieks at her, opening its mouth wide to attack the former chef. With no other way to defend herself, she shuts her eyes and prepares for the worst. But luckily for her, the zombie misses his attack completely and instead bites into a chair beside her. She has no idea what's going on or what this guy is doing, but it seems like she's safe for now. He has been sniffing around this entire time, and it looks like the eyes on his face are gone. Maybe he actually can't see anything, and he's relying on his sense of smell to find her. She somehow got lucky this time, but now he's way too close. If she makes any sound, he's going to attack her right away. She turns and notices that the gun is still on the table, just at the edge, away from her reach. She turns and tries to stealthily grab the gun while the zombie is still unaware of where she is. She stretches her hand just a little more, but the gun still stays out of her reach, and before she can grab it, it's already too late. Her back bumps into the zombie's arm, alerting him of her presence. It screams at her as it's about to attack, and just then memories of Su Chen's words flood her mind. He told her that his resources are limited, so he can't keep her around just because she's pretty. She has to find a crystal core in a monster's head that will give her abilities similar to the ones he has. If she can't do that, then he won't allow useless people to stay around him. That thought triggers a reaction out of her, and she goes on the offensive before the zombie can take her out. With the heel of her shoe, she stabs her leg straight into the zombie's eye so hard that the other side pops out at the back of his head. The zombie stops moving, and she tries to pull her leg back, but it suddenly grabs her ankle, forcing her to stab its face a few more times before it finally falls to the ground. Then she grabs an axe from elsewhere in the room. It's a shame that Su Chen wasn't here to see her, proving that she's not useless. But now she can check to see if it has a crystal core in its head. Back at the engineering university, Bai Kong and Lu Xiaofeng took Su Chen's advice and started organizing the students to evacuate. Bai Kong even contacted her brother Bai Ming and asked him to bring his troops to join them and ensure the students' safety. With that taken care of, Su Chen returns to the snake in the school's reptile laboratory and continues to pay special attention to it. After a time has passed, the creature starts its mutation and begins to grow in size. Su Chen watches it with interest, wondering just how far it can mutate, and the creature stares right back at him in contempt. To help with its growth, Su Chen even prepared a large bucket of water for it so it could grow faster. As soon as he drops the water bucket on the ground, the snake slithers in. It seems like it already knows that it needs to get into the water to complete its mutation, which saves him the trouble of trying to force it in. As soon as its body touches the water, it starts to grow into a large and terrifying beast, with a dragon head and a large, scaly body. Su Chen watches as it violently beats against the sides of the bucket until finally the bucket explodes, spreading the water all over the room and revealing the evolved form of the former snake. It had such massive growth from just the initial mutation, and all of this came from a simple bucket of water. If he had decided to wait until the flood came, then this would have been a much greater disaster.